Hi, I'm Michael Nova, and this is Electromagnetic Healing. This video I'm making for both the practitioner and the person that has the injury. So this video is more aimed at actually helping the individual that has the injury heal themselves. But on top of that, as a practitioner and massage therapist myself, I've figured out how to assist with that. So this video is kind of a two-part thing here. Brief description of what happened to you and where it is. And
okay. Well, it's on the injury's on my right knee, and I was playing a game, pickleball, and made an abrupt turn and felt something happen to my knee, and so it's been bothering me, and I haven't been able to play for a week or two now.
And pickleball is kind of like tennis, where you do a lot of rotation movements. So that rotation is what's cluing me in to where this knee issue's gonna be. So this is kind of an important part of a preliminary interview with your client as a practitioner, because it tells you possibly what has happened with the lower leg causing compression in the knee is where I'm going with this. So the way we're going to help out Mr. Smith Mr. Smith is we printed out a visual aid. So the visual aid is going to give him an idea of what to focus on to help this electromagnetic healing create space in the areas that we're going to be working on. So while I'm working on the lower leg, here, there's two bones at the bottom of the leg, tibia and fibula. And those bones are basically supposed to rotate. And they get bound up through the interosseous membrane, or the membrane, the tissue in between the bones. It binds those two bones together and doesn't allow the rotation to happen. So one of the areas that we're going to have Mr. Smith work on his own mind is this area in between the bones, tib fib. So I highlighted that for you.
Okay.
Then also just the space between the two bones that come together, the major upper leg bone and the major lower leg bone, femur and tibia. And that plateau area is where it's compressed and twisted, is my guess. So if you'd like to take this, and while I'm working in this area here, in the lower leg, not in the knee yet, I want you to focus and visualize the space between those two bones expanding and opening up and creating space. And yeah, so
Okay.
does that sound good for you? And
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'll let you know when I start working, and what I'm going to be focusing on is the same thing, but I'm actually just going to basically create the space for him to do his own healing. So here we go. So for the practitioners, I like to touch just, 5 grams of pressure, and your focus, your fingers are basically right on the edge, like the medial edge or the inside edge of the tibia. And that's going to basically align your fingers to in between the bones. So what I'm feeling here in this lower leg, and what I feel in pretty much everybody, is this pattern of electromagnetic wave that kind of goes through the leg like this, and it gets bound up in the interosseous membrane or in between the bones. It could be bound up in the ankle, it could be bound up at the top of the bones, or it could be bound up in the middle. So you tune in, your consciousness goes into the areas that you're looking at, and information will come back to you of where you feel the restriction. So I'm tuning in now. Mr. Smith, if you'd like to go ahead and visualize space opening up in this area. So I'm feeling a pretty good rotation in the ankle, and it's a little bound up at the knee. So if I feel like there's a binding happening somewhere, I'll just ask for that area if it's okay to make space there. And just wait. Everybody has this inherent health in them that is just on the surface, and you can access it yourself. So Morris, I'm feeling a restriction here in the center. So if you want to kind of focus here in the center.
Okay.
Did you feel anything? Yeah. So we did feel a shift in the lower leg, and Mr. Smith felt that as well. So we're gonna move on up to the space between the two major bones in the leg. And we're gonna ask Mr. Smith to change his focus to in between the bones at the knee joint. And we're just gonna ask for space. And so I don't know if this is in alignment with you or resonates with you, but I feel the restriction over here.
Yeah, if that's where
The pain is. Yeah. So if you want to focus in this area here,
Okay.
will it help if I put my thumb on it?
Yes.
Okay. So put your consciousness in that area and your focus, and ask for space to happen there. So, Mr. Smith, we had two big shifts in your knee and your lower leg. You felt those when it happened,
Yes.
right?
I did feel those.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so that kind of correlates with what you were focusing on as well, and helping yourself.
Yes.
That's the important part of this is, as a practitioner, yeah, you can do the work, but if you ask your client to help with this process, it empowers them to actually start healing themselves all the time. If we got a difference.
I don't feel any pain.
No pain.
No, I don't feel any pain. It feels better. I can feel that. I can feel that energy, in there when we were doing it. I can feel little pulses of energy.
Electromagnetic energy. Hello, welcome back to my channel, Michael Nova, and this is Electromagnetic Healing. This is part 2 of a 2-part series of the video I just made with Mr. Smith, and we worked on his lower leg and knee. Things I wanted to go over that weren't really explained in the video, and in the first video, was that the first thing is the whole process took 5 minutes. As far as like all the actual electromagnetic work, it took 5 minutes, and it really goes a lot faster if you involve your client in the whole process. And using this visual aid was how I did it. So while I'm working in these areas, I have him focus in these areas, and this visual aid has highlighted. The highlighted areas is where I wanted him to look at. And basically that sends his consciousness down into that area. And while I was working, I felt the restriction in the lower leg, and I felt where it was, and I asked him if he wanted to join me in the expansion of that area, and we actually felt a pop. Not all the time you feel that, but we actually felt a pop. And he actually felt the electromagnetic energy pass through his lower leg, which is amazing. So when I was talking to him about working with me and using his consciousness to go into that area, it's actually a concept of a person's ability to heal themselves. So I was working in there, yes. He was working in there, and while he's working in there, he's accessing his own ability to heal. And that's in every one of us. Our bodies are amazing and miraculous, and they all have this amazing ability to heal. I like to call it electromagnetic energy passing through people. And there's scientific devices that actually measure this energy passing through people. Or when I'm working with someone, I'm working with that energy that's already there. It already exists, and the alignment is already there, and it already exists. All we're doing is creating the space for that alignment to re-establish itself. That's it.